Well, Mr. Ballou, the son of the lady and stepson of the man that's in the hospital. The lady is dead and the man's at the hospital still alive. Said the man called him, his stepfather called him about noon, said he and his mother was having trouble. Would he come over? So he told him he would have to wait till they had lunch, and then they came over here and found him in the back bedroom, or back room. It's not a bedroom. Both of them lying on the floor with bullet wounds to the head. And the Mrs. Griffith was dead on the scene here, and Mr. Griffith was taken to the John Peter Smith Hospital.
The man who has pleaded innocent to that crime is former police patrolman Felix Florio. Allegedly, Florio entered the apartment of a 22-year-old East Dallas secretary last year on the pretext that he was conducting a police investigation and needed her cooperation. The resulting near-fatal assault left the girl partially blind.
Santa Claus, what are you doing here this time of year?
Well, this is a great celebration for my people this time of the year and all little kids.
What kind of tree trimming is this?
Oh, this is the annual Christmas tree trimming that we do.
I always heard of tree trimming as putting things on the tree rather than cutting branches off.
Well, it's the Great Issue Society International version of tree trimming. And I don't want you to misinterpret this as a good time, because it's not. And you're not here to get any presents, okay? This is for Rick. Greg, okay? Sandy, you know, I don't know whether we should give these any presents, because they're trying to hurt us after this in a hockey game. And look at that boy. He can't hardly wait till we get out there. He's sweating blood. Tim Murhead. Okay, Murhead. There you are, Tim. Okay, and Chris, that's that mean one. Okay. Bobby Phil.
No legislature in this nation, even on a cumulative basis, has gone so far or done so much to enhance the public's right to know. Two states, Colorado and Washington, which came the closest to matching the Texas record, achieved what they did through initiative and referendum, and not necessarily by legislative action.
We're going to ride it around all day long, and for each person, as each cycle, we get one ticket per retarded child for the next fall.
And how many times do you think you're going to make it? How many tickets do you think you're going to get? There's six of you all together.
About 200 per person.
200 per person will give you about 1,200 tickets.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
You've already had a couple of test runs, right?
Yeah.
You think you can make it?
For sure. We all will.
Thank you. Congratulations. Have a ball.
any questions? To look at the Pure County, here's the way I see the family chores subdivided. The county to integrate into a county system, and we won't all need to do it the same day. It is together, see what our individual problems are, and that few years of Pure County situations that we did not take advantage of. But our team effort should be devoted to
the ultimate solution that you're talking about.
It will be one way of accomplishing the point.
Well, I don't know of any other legislation right now which works towards that.
All right. I'd rather be in there.
Do you feel you have to put them out of business by having one
contracting are sufficient, that they're just not working very well? We need to get into them.
Well, I really want clear. That's why I just wanted to ask
What's the compelling reason is, as I say again here, one of the big problems has been for putting one of them.
Present laws on integrated.
Safer health, because that doesn't put the cities out of business if the county oversees or even in some cases.
Harding and Mr. Bartell, they're ex officio members, or maybe they're here to see if we're doing the right thing. Tell us what to do. That's really chairman and vice chairman of the county advisory group.
Behind me here is a very specialized portion of the world community. They're scientists who speak and think in terms of the year 2000, although we're still in the year 1973. Their job here is simple, to communicate, and that's the purpose of this 19th annual meeting of the American Astronautical Society. But there are more than just Americans here. On this panel alone are some of the foremost scientific citizens in the world, including men from France, Australia, India, and the well-known United States space expert Dr. Wernher von Braun. Italy and the Soviet Union also sent representatives to the convention. Nothing you can touch tomorrow is going to come out of their discussions today, but through meetings like this have come space spin-offs in medicine, weather forecasting, agriculture, and ecology. India's representative, for example, is interested in space for satellites to be used in education and agriculture. You can tell corn blight, or the age of corn, from space. And India has a problem of trying to feed and educate 550 million people. As the Skylab crew ends their mission this week, this conference will wind up. Ideas will have been exchanged, jumping over political boundaries. The idea among the scientists is to bring about a better world through technology, and that's what this week's meeting is all about. From the Fairmont Hotel, this is Lee Salzberger reporting for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Guy Harbert has been with the Dallas Fire Department since 1942. He has been the fire marshal for the past 17 years, which is somewhat of a record. Well, today, Chief Guy Harbert retired. And just a few minutes ago, this was the scene when he walked into the reception room. Say, Marshal, may I interrupt you for just a moment?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Always.
The jury panel was closely quizzed by district attorneys this afternoon on whether or not each could return the maximum verdict of 99 years on the charge of assault with intent to commit rape.
What is it, attempted murder? And
No,
suicide?
murder, attempted.
Okay.
AJ, does it make any difference whether you're starting in the outfield or in the lineup as a designated hitter? Does it really make that much difference to you?
Well, it's hard to say. I've been accustomed to playing or not playing as the game was before the designated hitter. And this new thing coming attacking, you know, you have to feel your way through it. You know, it hasn't been existing long enough to know the true character of the thing, you know. So it's hard to say. I see things, well, I see the prospects are more bad than good, you know, so far. But it's an individual thing, too, you know. It all depends on how bad the prospects can go as an individual thing, you know.
But like if you would get hurt or something and couldn't run in the outfield, but you might still be able to swing the bat, it would help like that, right? I mean, you could contribute something to the club by being able to hit.
Oh, yeah, there's a possibility along that line.
All right, I also noticed last 2 or 3 days you hit the ball real sharp. I've been out here watching, and I watched you also in batting practice hitting the ball real sharp. Are you satisfied right now with your timing?
Well, batting practice is a little different from the game, you know. You just have to go from game to game, you know. You feel good, you feel comfortable. This is some of the basic things you look out for, you know. I feel pretty comfortable now. We have having pretty good weather down here. Yeah, most of the places in the country, they're having cool weather, windy weather, etc., you know, and that bothers you sometimes. But in Texas, it's pretty ideal weather right now, you know, which helps your body, gives it a little more stability, you know, move a little more fluent.
With this problem in mind, the North Texas Council of Governments will be completing a study in about 6 weeks for a regional waste disposal plant. And the Dallas County Commissioners are interested in pooling county-wide resources to develop one or more landfill sites to dispose waste for all 27 cities within the county. George Akins, Chief of Planning for the County Public Works, told me this morning at a meeting of the cities that smaller towns and Dallas are running out of landfill ground, and the problem will increase as the population increases. He said more than 5,000 acres are needed for at least the next 30 years. John Typer with the Dallas Sanitation Department has been named head of a committee to find out which Dallas County cities need what and how soon, and if the county should get involved in the waste disposal business. June Gray, Channel 8 News on the Move in Dallas.
Is there any significance to your retirement ceremony being right across the hall from the ambulance division?
Well, could be. We had the Undertaker convention I run into the other day, and they looked me over down to the Dolphins Hotel pretty close.
What are you going to do now, Guy?
I wish I knew, Jim.
You've been a friend of the media for a long, long time.
I appreciate that, and that goes double for the media. I think the media has done more for the Dallas Fire Department in safety than any other thing I can think of, any other one media that I can think of.
As a matter of fact, at this retirement party, even the cake is personalized with a G for Chief Guy. Incidentally, Chief M.C. Hendricks told me a few minutes ago there has been no successor named to the job of Dallas Fire Marshal. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News, on the Move.
This group is representative of dozens like it across Texas. They're putting in their opinions on what the proposed new Texas Constitution should be like. George Staples, city attorney for Hearst, offered a resolution which the subcommittee unanimously adopted. The subject was home rule self-government.
It would put together the same, give the counties the same rights as cities to enact home rule government if they wanted to, or if 5% of the populace signed a petition to that effect. It would not provide for metro government. It would not provide for consolidation of governments. This would still be left as it is now to the legislature. And there is a provision within this particular proposal that would guarantee that units of government could not be eliminated except by a majority vote of the citizens that live there.
The most serious opposition to home rule will come from the state's courthouses, according to County Judge Howard Green. He thinks a lot of officials will be afraid they'll lose their lucrative elective jobs. Attorney Staples said of elected officials, if a man is responsible to everyone on the street, then he's really responsible to no one. Judge Green, adding to that, noted, the damnedest thing I've ever heard in a courthouse is a man saying, I was elected by the people, and I'll do what I like until the people throw me out. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Once I got through R, I think, and then we quit because it really took up too much time.
Do you think Allison will be as good a speller as you one of these days?
Well, I don't know.
What do you think about that?
Well, I was in the spelling bee.
Did you win?
No.
What word did you miss on?
Energy. I was nervous.
We're new, and new governor, new.
I'm not going to take that.
Yeah. I don't know why Richard was killed. The man that was at the door, I didn't see the man, I heard his voice. I know that this man did not know Richard. Richard didn't know him. The man was just doing a job. It meant nothing at all to him. It meant nothing to him to kill Richard.
Are you afraid for yourself or your family right now?
No, everybody keeps telling me I am. When I came to Richard in January when we were married, I was afraid. And now I cannot live in fear. I will not walk in fear. If I do, everything he gave to me is for nothing, and I will not be afraid. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
It's an injunction against not only the people that are exhibiting the film, but the owners of the property, the lessees of the property, and they are all restrained from allowing any pornographic films to be shown on. If you later show that they did show one, they can be put in jail for it for civil contempt.
The street, and everybody laughs at them. There's crime. These people, they're working their business just like the dry cleaner on the corner. And it made Richard absolutely livid. There is no organization.
Buy a good used airplane?
I believe the president when he said he had no prior knowledge of Watergate. Of course, I also still believe in the tooth fairy. I have some more hilarious thunderbolts coming up here. But I think a lot of good has come out of these hearings. I understand that the bombers are being pulled out of Cambodia and are now circling John Dean's house.
Do you think you could have done a better job with the Watergate situation?
With the Watergate myself personally, yeah, I think so. I consider myself reasonably devious. I think I'm capable of worming out of things, and I've always felt that a politician should be sincere, whether he means it or not.
A temporary restraining order was issued today against the Topar theaters and associated theaters to keep movies showing explicit sex acts from being shown to the paying public. This theater, the Lido, was already temporarily shut down for showing The Devil and Miss Jones. District Attorney Henry Wade said that criminal action for the past 3 years against the Lido, the Continental, and the French Art theaters had done nothing to stop the showing of obscene movies, so now they're going to try civil action.
If it's successful, it'll make it rather easy for us to do it by filing on everyone else.
Judge D. Brown Walker said in issuing the restraining order that the corruption of minds, or at least the scars thereof, can never be wholly eradicated from the minds of viewers of such pictures. A hearing has been set in his court for June 29th. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Judy Hanna in Dallas.
I saw the shot. I saw Richard fall. And there wasn't another sound. The dog was barking. And I finally got the operator to get the police, and I went to him and pulled him to me, and he was gone.
When Mother Nature knocks a hole in your roof as large as this one, you know she must have had a lot of anger on her mind when she cooked up that storm that ripped through the Metroplex last night. This hole, measuring about 4 foot in diameter, happens to be on the roof of the Goodwill Industries store at Hampton and Singleton in Oak Cliff. The entire roof is heavily damaged, not to mention the store itself below and the executive offices here at the Goodwill headquarters. Downstairs, it is estimated totally for this building, the damage will run close to $100,000. But that isn't all Mother Nature brought about last night. There was a great deal of flash flooding, a great deal of wind damage to trees and other structures across the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Really, no. All I know that it started to rain and hail, and sounded like a big door had slammed. And I looked out the south side of my window, and my radio antenna was down, tower was down, lying in the yard, and I ran to the other side of the house to see if the door was open. Looked up toward the hangars and saw all this mess piled up, and I just went back in the room and sat down.
That's exactly right. I'm involved along with
Mike Reed of the Cincinnati Bengals and a concert here at Fair Park at the summer stage at Fair Park Saturday, and Mike Reed will be playing the piano, and I will be expressing Lincoln's poetry by Copeland, which is probably a little different than playing football.
Yeah, well, now, what would you prefer, standing in front of Alan Page or standing in front of a crowd reading poetry?
Well, the fact that I don't get a chance to block Alan Page, I get a chance to block Carl Eller.
Oh, which is not easy.
Yeah. But I was just kidding. Eller's a great performer, but I think it's a different feeling, and of course, football is one thing, and reading poetry and just like off-season work is another thing, So I don't think it's going to be that much of a real big problem, really.
The odds are there's oil under this ground, but apparently it's going to stay there, even though we're in what's called a fuel shortage or energy crisis. This is part of a 2-square-mile lease that's listed as held by production by a major oil company. There are hundreds of thousands of acres just like this throughout West Texas, held by the majors. They won't develop this lease, and they won't let anyone else develop it, according to independents like Jim Phillips of Texas Western Incorporated.
They will not give up the acreage. I was told by more than one major company they're going to hold the acreage till the price of crude goes up higher or whatever.
All right, now this is land that they have a lease on, and they're not producing it. They're not developing it themselves, right?
That's true. For instance, right in this area, you'll find in this county, Ector County, you'll find 48,000 some odd acres being held by production, wells many miles away or miles away, whatever, that there's no wells on, offsetting production that could be developed if they would release it, or if some way they could be forced to release it to be developed.
Midland geologist Ben Hofficker has worked this area very thoroughly, and he feels that there is good potential for production of gas and oil throughout Ector County.
Yes, I think it does. It's got the potential. We have found over the years that at first people drilled for real shallow wells horizons due to the economics of drilling, the mechanics of drilling. And they may have drilled just a small portion right here and developed all the shallow production. But then later on somebody's come over here and they've drilled a deeper well and they found deeper production out here. So it does have the potential for production, even though it may be held by production and there are no wells on it.
Not only are we all missing out on some needed oil, some property owners are unhappy. One man told me that he's about ready to sue a major oil company because they won't develop his 2,000-acre lease, nor will they release it so an independent can develop it. The major oil companies have always controlled the oil fields. The lease arrangements, the price of crude oil, the price of gasoline in your car. And now we learn that apparently they have a lot to say about how many oil wells are going to be drilled, or how many wells are not going to be drilled. Incidentally, Exxon Corporation holds the most land out of production here in Ector County, over 17,000 acres. At the same time, they have the strongest gasoline rationing program at their service stations. Also at the same time, they report higher profits this year than ever before. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move in West Texas.
Announcements come from people who seek
an integrated neighborhood, and organizations who just say, you really shouldn't discriminate.
Who open the open housing concept in our suburban cities around the metropolitan area.
They need our help. We will help.
These industries have been forced underground and
We got to get Judy Elfenbein on the line for me, special projects in Dallas. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to explain to me, we're going to get the camera, and I want you to explain to me just. He couldn't get through to his Mr. Johnson in Dallas right away, and he had to go on an appointment. He was trying to get jobs for kids. Later, Partridge called me back. He had reached HEW in Dallas, and their response was as old as bureaucracy itself. They told